Latest on celebrity chef Adine, her career in ruins following her admission she had used a racial slur.
While Hollywood has been a beacon of progressivism throughout history, there have been some in the industry that were quite the opposite. Throughout history, there's been tons of Hollywood actors who have passed extremely racist and harmful comments.
We are a country that stands for freedom, for rightness, for justice, for everyone. It simply doesn't apply to those who are not white. It just simply doesn't apply.
And while we're seeing less and less racism, that doesn't mean it doesn't exist today. So join us today as we talk about the most racist actors in Hollywood's history. Number 14, Bing Crosby. Bing Crosby, a legendary American singer and actor, has a lesser-known, controversial side. Although he is famous for his smooth voice and classic films, Crosby's legacy is complicated by his involvement in blackface performances and other racial issues. Crosby was born in 1903, during a time when it was common for white actors to wear blackface to mock and demean black people. This practice involves using harmful stereotypes, portraying black people as foolish, lazy, and superstitious to entertain people. Like many entertainers of his era, Crosby participated in blackface, appearing in at least 4 films where he wore it, reflecting the widespread racism in American entertainment. In the 1954 film White Christmas, Crosby performed the song Mandy with Danny Kaye, Rosemary Clooney, and Vera Ellen. Although this scene did not feature blackface, it still drew from old traditions, showing how racial caricatures were embedded in popular culture. The song itself has ties to blackface minstrelsy, and its inclusion in the film served as a nostalgic nod to a racist past. Crosby's friendship with Louis Armstrong adds another layer to his legacy. Their relationship was built on mutual respect and admiration. Crosby often promoted Armstrong's work, and their professional interactions were characterized by genuine friendship. However, Crosby's use of the N-word when referring to Armstrong is a stark reminder of the casual racism that was there even in the progressive friendships of that era. This incident shows the deep-seated racial prejudices that were commonplace, even among those who otherwise supported black artists. The issue of blackface wasn't unique to Crosby. Many people that he worked with, such as Frank Sinatra, Judy Garland, and Fred Astaire, also participated in blackface performances. Since so many people were doing this, fans rushed to Crosby's defense, saying he was just doing what was common back in the day. Despite his involvement in these problematic practices, Crosby is not solely defined by them. His contributions to music and film are significant, and he played a role in promoting talented African-American artists like Armstrong. However, it is important to acknowledge the full scope of his legacy, including the less savory aspects. Number 13, Jimmy Stewart. James Stewart, commonly known as Jimmy Stewart, was a celebrated Oscar-winning actor and a decorated war hero who reached the rank of Major General in the U.S. Air Force. He was famous for his roles in classic films like It's a Wonderful Life and Mr. Smith Goes to Washington, often portraying the ideal all-American good guy. However, Stewart's off-screen behavior was more complex, showing a man with a quick temper and troubling racial views. Despite his successful career, Stewart's interactions with black actors were very racist. In 1971, during the run of The Jimmy Stewart Show, he strongly opposed casting Hal Williams, a black actor, as a police officer. Stewart demanded that Williams be replaced by a white actor, saying he did not want a black man lecturing him on television. This was not an isolated incident. Stewart was known to taunt and berate black actors on set. For example, during the filming of The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance, he used racial slurs against actor Woody Strode, leading the film's director John Ford to step in to prevent further conflict. Stewart's wife once described his temper as frightening, noting that he managed to control it better than anyone she had ever known. Despite this, his outbursts were a stark contrast to the wholesome image he portrayed on screen. The incident with Hal Williams was particularly shocking, as it highlighted Stewart's belief that racial hierarchies should be maintained both in society and on television. This racist mindset had a significant impact on Stewart's legacy, overshadowing his professional achievements. Stewart's personal life also saw moments of tension, particularly with his close friend and fellow actor Henry Fonda. Despite their deep friendship, the two men had vastly different political views, leading to a physical altercation at one point. After their fight, they vowed never to discuss politics again, a promise they kept throughout their 50-year friendship. Number 12. Marlon Brando. Marlon Brando, one of Hollywood's most iconic figures, is known for his powerful performances in films like The Godfather and A Streetcar Named Desire. His influence on the acting world is undeniable, as he revolutionized the craft with his method acting techniques and raw emotional portrayals. However, underneath all that charisma lies a more controversial aspect of Brando's legacy. Back then, the actor's attitude towards Jewish people was met with a lot of criticism. In 1996, Brando appeared on Larry King Live, where he made comments that sparked accusations of anti-Semitism. During the interview, Brando criticized Hollywood executives, many of them Jewish, for perpetuating negative stereotypes of minorities in films. He argued that these guys should be more sensitive due to their historical suffering, but instead chose to demean others. These comments were seen by many as deeply problematic and offensive, especially given the sensitive nature of the topic. The reaction to Brando's comments led to a lot of backlash. Jewish leaders and civil rights activists criticized Marlon Brando for his statements, arguing that they were harmful and could encourage further discrimination. Brando's decision to single out Jewish executives was seen as an attack on a specific group, reinforcing anti-Semitic stereotypes. However, some defended Brando, saying he was simply expressing his views on the moral responsibilities of the film industry. Number 11. Taylor Selfridge. Taylor Selfridge's time on MTV's Teen Mom OG ended abruptly after a series of her past social media posts resurfaced. In these tweets, she was seen making fun of black people. In one such tweet, she mentioned that every Halloween she gets punched in the face by a black girl. In another, Taylor said that at work she wouldn't want to greet black people because they scare her. There were many, many more tweets just like this. These tweets were brought to light during a nationwide movement against racism, leading MTV to cut ties with Selfridge and cancel her baby special. Selfridge's journey on Teen Mom OG began in 2019 and lasted until 2020, during which she shared the screen with her boyfriend Corey Wharton and his ex, Cheyenne Floyd. In her defense, Selfridge stated that the tweets were from a time when she was younger and less aware of their negative implications, claiming that she thought they were funny rather than harmful. She acknowledged her mistake and expressed a desire to grow from the experience. The aftermath of getting fired led Selfridge to issue an apology and expressed her intention to move forward and be the best version of herself. She emphasized that her past actions do not define who she is today, and asked for respect for her decision to provide a normal, healthy life for her family. Selfridge also announced her departure from Teen Mom OG, saying it was a personal choice. She wasn't happy with the reality TV lifestyle and how its rules were inconsistently enforced. The canceled special, Teen Mom OG at Home Corey and Taylor's Baby Special, was supposed to show Selfridge's pregnancy journey during the coronavirus pandemic, with footage they filmed themselves. Wharton had expressed his excitement for the premiere on Instagram, hinting at the challenges and happy moments captured in the special. However, the special never aired, and Selfridge's story became another example of how public figures can face consequences long after their actions. Number 10. Harley Sawyer. In the world of social media, the actions of the past can often cast long shadows over the present. This is a truth that Harley Sawyer, formerly of the CW's The Flash, has come to know all too well. His past tweets, filled with content that many find offensive, resurfaced, leading to his removal from the popular series. The tweets in question, dating back to before Sawyer's time on The Flash, contained misogynistic, racist, and homophobic language. In one such tweet, Sawyer mentioned that he enjoys kidnapping homeless women. In another, he talked about how he constantly keeps exposing himself as racist. Eric Wallace, the executive producer of the show, along with other producers, decided to fire Eric Wallace. In a joint statement, they said that they want to promote a safe and inclusive environment for everyone working with them. They also said that derogatory remarks targeting any race, ethnicity, national origin, gender, or sexual orientation would not be tolerated. Moving on to another actor whose comments got him in trouble. Number 9. John Wayne. John Wayne, the quintessential cowboy and Hollywood legend, left an indelible mark on the film industry with his roles in westerns and war films. At 6'5", Wayne's imposing presence and rugged persona were the epitome of American courage, and manliness for decades. His portrayal of Rooster Cogburn in True Grit earned him the Best Actor Oscar in 1970, a nod not only to his performance, but also to his larger-than-life image. However, Wayne's legacy has been tarnished by his controversial and racist remarks, particularly those made in a 1971 Playboy interview. During a time when America was grappling with the Vietnam War and the Civil Rights Movement, Wayne's outdated views starkly contrasted with the era's evolving values. In the interview, Wayne openly admitted to believing in white supremacy until black people reached what he considered a suitable level of education. He expressed disdain for giving authority or leadership positions to those he deemed irresponsible, which clearly indicated his prejudiced views. Wayne's controversial opinions were not limited to African Americans. He frequently referred to Native Americans as savages and justified the historical theft of their land. These remarks showed his outdated and offensive perspectives, which clashed with the growing movement for equality and justice in America. Despite these statements, Wayne's career did not suffer significantly. His fans and much of the industry either ignored or condoned his views, and he continued to enjoy his status as a Hollywood icon. The 1970 Oscars, where John Wayne won his award, also reflected the cultural tensions of the time. There were protests against the lack of black musicians in the orchestra and the negative portrayal of Latinos in films like The Wild Bunch and Butch Cassidy and The Sundance Kid. While Wayne's role in True Grit represented a traditional view of the Western genre, other films like Midnight Cowboy challenged the American cowboy ideal that Wayne had long embodied. Wayne's films, especially The Searchers, were criticized for reinforcing stereotypes about Native Americans. His views on race and ethnicity added controversy to his film career. He also criticized Midnight Cowboy for its portrayal of gay relationships, using a homophobic slur to describe the characters. This solidified his reputation as a member of Hollywood's old guard, resistant to the progressive changes happening in society. Remember when Marlon Brando famously refused to accept his Best Actor Oscar for The Godfather to protest Hollywood's treatment of Native Americans? He sent Native American activist Sachin Littlefeather to read a statement on his behalf. Littlefeather's speech, which criticized the film industry's portrayal of Native Americans and addressed recent events at Wounded Knee, received a mixed reaction from the audience. Wayne, who was in attendance, was reportedly so upset by her remarks that he had to be restrained by security from confronting her on stage. This incident further showed Wayne's opposition to the changing cultural landscape and his defense of traditional, though often problematic, values. Despite the backlash, Wayne continued to be celebrated in Hollywood. The Orange County Airport was renamed in his honor in 1979, the year he died. The airport's renaming was intended to honor Wayne as a symbol of traditional American values. However, in recent years there has been a push to remove his name from the airport due to his controversial remarks. Wayne's son, Ethan, has defended his father, stating that he was not a racist and that the term is used too casually today. Nevertheless, the debate over Wayne's legacy continues, reflecting the ongoing struggle to reconcile his contributions to cinema with his problematic beliefs. Wayne's influence on Hollywood is undeniable. His roles in films like Stagecoach, The Searchers, and True Grit defined the Western genre and solidified his place as a cultural icon. Yet his personal beliefs and the statements he made in interviews have cast a long shadow over his legacy. Speaking of legacy, the next person on this list has been an icon for many kids around the world. But sadly, their hero lived long enough to become somewhat of a villain all on his own. Number 8. Walt Disney. Many families have fond memories of gathering around the television to watch the wonderful world of Disney. Disney's influence on entertainment is undeniable, from movies to theme parks. Founded on October 16, 1923, by Walt Disney and his brother Roy, the Disney Brothers cartoon studio in Hollywood grew into a global powerhouse. But behind the magic, what was it really like to work for Walt Disney? Did he hold problematic views about race and ethnicity? There are a lot of conflicting testimonies about Disney's character. Some employees and close associates strongly deny that he was racist or anti-Semitic. However, others share a different story. One perspective comes from Bill Melendez, a Mexican-born animator best known for his work on the Peanuts cartoons. Melendez, who worked for Disney in his 20s, described him as a powerful figure who openly expressed dislike for certain groups, particularly Jews. Disney's issues extended beyond race. He reportedly had problems with female employees, often assigning them to menial roles. Writer Joan Scott, who contributed to shows like Lassie and Have Gun Will Travel, recalled an incident where a top Disney executive questioned her background at Walt's request. This suggested a potential bias against women in creative positions. One of the most concerning pieces of evidence against Disney's character is his association with Nazi filmmaker Leni Riefenstahl. In 1938, just a month after Kristallnacht, Disney hosted Riefenstahl at his studio and gave her a grand tour. This incident, along with Disney's reported use of racial slurs and other offensive language, was proof that Disney was not the saint everyone thought he was. These attitudes were not uncommon during his time, but were increasingly under scrutiny. Disney's films also reflected these problematic views. The Crows in Dumbo and the entirety of Song of the South have been criticized for their racist imagery. It wasn't until 1957 that Disney hired his first African-American animator, Floyd Norman. Before that, even being perceived as black was problematic at Disney Studios. One of his employees said that Walt mistook a dark-skinned Hindu man for being black and ordered his dismissal. On top of all the problems with racism, Disney's history with gender discrimination is also another aspect of his personality that many forget. The company famously sent a letter in 1938 to a female applicant, letting her know that women were not considered for creative positions. This exclusion of women from significant roles within the company persisted, reflecting broader societal norms of the time, but also highlighting Disney's own biases. Some defend Disney, citing his contributions to entertainment and innovation as revolutionary, while others point to his discriminatory actions and associations that created a toxic environment for artists. Regardless, Disney has still gotten away with his unsettling ways, just like the next person on the list. Number 7. Walter Brennan. Walter Brennan is a name that resonates in Hollywood history. He is celebrated for his versatility and charm on screen. Brennan brought life to characters in everything from westerns to family comedies, making him a beloved figure in American cinema. However, beneath his successful career lies a darker side where his troubling beliefs often got him into trouble. Brennan's path to fame began in vaudeville, where he worked on his acting skills through live performances, singing, and dancing. This experience helped him transition to radio in Los Angeles and eventually to Hollywood. Moving to Los Angeles was a turning point for Brennan. It placed him at the center of the entertainment industry. He became known for his roles in westerns and won 3 Academy Awards for Best Supporting Actor. Despite his success, Brennan's legacy has taken a hit by his strongly negative views on race. Brennan was known for his conservative beliefs. He was outspoken in his opposition to the civil rights movement and the protests against the Vietnam War. He saw these movements as communist plots. His paranoia led him to take extreme measures, such as building a bunker at his home to prepare for a supposed Soviet invasion. Brennan's hate for social change was clear in his reaction to the deaths of civil rights leader Martin Luther King Jr. and Senator Robert F. Kennedy. He lacked empathy, and even celebrated when that happened. On top of that, Brennan used his popularity to spread these harmful ideas. He often portrayed himself as a simple countryman to connect with fans and promote his racist ideologies. His involvement with the John Birch Society, a group known for its extreme views, further shows his controversial stance. Brennan recorded tracks at a convention using the voice of his beloved character, Grandpa Amos, to criticize the civil rights movement and spread fear of a communist takeover. His paranoia was not limited to politics. He distrusted many celebrities and believed modern music, like that of the Beatles, would corrupt his grandchildren. Brennan's outspoken views on prayer in school also drew attention. He participated in rallies opposing the Supreme Court's decision that school-led prayers were unconstitutional, showing his resistance to societal changes. Moving on to an actress whose unlikely comments led to tons of backlash online. Number 6. Leah Michelle. After George Floyd died in 2020, many celebrities took to social media to express their support for the Black Lives Matter movement. Among them was Leah Michelle, who tweeted her condolences and support, but that's where things took a huge turn. Despite Leah offering her support, her post was met with criticism from former co-star Samantha Marie Ware, who accused Michelle of making her life difficult on the set of Glee. This accusation opened the floodgates to a series of allegations from other cast members and industry professionals who claimed Michelle was someone who was difficult to work with and had been guilty of being racist on set many times. Ware's tweet, which in detail described her negative experiences with Michelle, encouraged others to share their stories. This included Alex Newell and several background actors who supported Ware's claims. Gene Godlock went as far as to say Michelle referred to background actors as cockroaches, while Naya Rivera had previously hinted at Michelle's unprofessionalism in her book. Heather Morris, another alum of Glee, spoke out about Leah Michelle's behavior. She acknowledged that Michelle was unpleasant to work with, but warned against calling her a racist without knowing her beliefs. Keith Powell, a former actor on 30 Rock, supported Samantha Ware's claims. He said Michelle had made racist microaggressions. After the backlash, Michelle apologized on Instagram. She said that she did not remember making the specific remark Ware accused her of. However, she acknowledged that her behavior had hurt others. Ware responded to Michelle's apology by questioning its sincerity. She also urged Michelle to donate to the GoFundMe for James Scurlock's family. James Scurlock was a 22-year-old black protester who was fatally shot by Jacob Jake Gardner, a 38-year-old bar owner. The incident occurred during the George Floyd protests in Omaha, Nebraska, in the Old Market area of the city. Number 5. Aby Lee Miller. Next, the focus turns to Aby Lee Miller, the strict dance coach from the show Dance Moms. The show gave young dancers a chance to showcase their talent, but behind the scenes, there was more happening than just dance routines and competitions. Miller became the center of controversy when Adriana Smith, the mother of Cameron Smith from Season 8, accused her of racist behavior. This accusation surfaced after Miller posted a blackout square on Instagram in support of Blackout Tuesday, a movement that gained traction following George Floyd's death. Smith did not hold back in her response, calling Miller's post hypocritical and sharing her own negative experiences with the coach. Smith's account painted Miller as someone who used her power to belittle and discriminate against others. Smith also accused Miller of tokenism. She felt that Miller used her daughter as a diversity token rather than valuing her talent as a dancer. The situation got so bad that it reached the point where Smith decided to remove her daughter from the show. This decision was both difficult and empowering. It was a stand against racism and a lesson for her daughter that dignity and respect are more important than screen time. Miller then apologized on Twitter, expressing her regret and promised to educate herself and improve her behavior. However, Smith did not accept this apology and questioned its sincerity and timing. She said that a genuine apology would have come sooner and would have included direct communication. Another parent, Camille Bridges, also shared a similar experience with Miller. She accused Miller of cultural appropriation and failing to appreciate the contributions of black choreographers, and that didn't help her situation at all. Number 4. Kevin Spacy. Kevin Spacy was once one of the most well-known actors out there. His show, The House of Cards, took the world by storm. He became synonymous with Frank Underwood, and everyone appreciated how he would break the fourth wall during the show. At the time, it seemed that there was no stopping Kevin Spacy. He was going to reach incredibly high. But then, it all came tumbling down, and now Kevin Spacy is a name whispered in hushed tones. Here's the problem. In 2012, during the filming of the first season of House of Cards, allegations of racism surfaced against the lead actor, Kevin Spacy. Earl Blue, the head of VIP Protective Services, was responsible for the security of the set and has brought these allegations to light. At the age of 51, Blue led a team tasked with ensuring the safety and security of the production. His company, hired by Night Takes King Productions, was in charge of managing on-set security. However, the experience turned sour when Spacy allegedly made racial slurs and refused to acknowledge the black members of the security team. This behavior was not only disrespectful, but also deeply hurtful to those who experienced it. The incident that sparked the controversy involved a group of black security guards and a trailer for the show. According to Blue, Spacy expressed that he did not want black employees watching his trailer. This statement is a strong example of the prejudices that still exist in society. It is a reflection of an attitude that should have no place in any industry, let alone one as diverse as entertainment. Despite the professionalism and dedication of Blue's team, their contract, worth over $1 million, was not renewed. The reason for this decision remains unclear, but the impact it had on Blue's business was significant. The loss of the contract led to a substantial financial hit, affecting the livelihoods of the 40 guards employed by his company. The allegations extend beyond just one individual. Eric Lyles, another employee of VIP Protective Services, supported Blue's claims. At 47 years old, Lyles experienced a similar lack of acknowledgement from Spacy. These experiences suggest a pattern of behavior that raises serious concerns about discrimination. Blue, a father of 3, found himself questioning his career and the industry he worked in. The termination of the contract led him to doubt his role and the values of the people he worked with. It took him 4 years to break his silence, a decision driven by the realization that the issue at hand was bigger than a confidentiality agreement. The response from those involved with House of Cards has been disappointing. Some deny any recollection of racist behavior, while others describe Spacy as difficult to work with. On the other hand, a source suggested that security breaches during the first season led to a change in security contractors. Blue refutes these claims, standing by the quality of his company's work. But that's not all Spacy has to worry about. In 2017, Kevin Spacey faced multiple allegations of sexual misconduct. It began when actor Anthony Rapp accused Spacey of making a sexual advance toward him at a party in 1986 when Rapp was 14 and Spacey was 26. Rapp had shared this story earlier in 2001, but Spacey's name was left out to avoid legal issues. In response, Spacey said he didn't remember the incident but apologized to Rapp if it had happened. Following Rapp's accusations, 15 other people also accused Spacey of sexual misconduct. This included Boston News anchor Heather Unruh, who said Spacey assaulted her son, and actor Roberto Cavazos, along with 8 people who worked on House of Cards. Some of the accusations involved Spacey's time as artistic director at the Old Vic Theatre in London. After these allegations, Netflix ended its partnership with Spacey. They canceled his Gore Vidal biopic and removed him from the final season of House of Cards. His role in the film All the Money in the World was also recast and reshot with Christopher Plummer. And such measures were seen as examples of how to deal with sexual predators that are front and center of many famous productions in the industry. Number 3. Paula Deen. Paula Deen has faced accusations that have completely destroyed her entire business. A former employee said that Deen used a racial slur to describe the middle-aged black men she wanted to hire as waiters, who would wear white jackets and black bow ties. After she admitted using racially insensitive language, her cooking show was canceled, and she lost a number of sponsors too. This event marked a significant turning point in her life and career. In a tearful interview with Matt Lauer on the Today Show, Deen insisted she was not a racist, yet the interview exposed a lack of understanding about the severity of her admissions. The controversy wasn't just about the use of a derogatory word. It was also about Deen's admission of fantasizing about a Southern plantation-style wedding with African-American servants, which evoked painful historical connotations. A year later, Deen returned to the Today Show, seemingly a different person from the one who had sat there previously. She expressed an inability to recognize herself in the footage from the past interview, and suggested that perhaps she should have sought medical care rather than public exposure during that terrible time. Deen struggled to understand the backlash against her, admitting it took her time to realize why her words from 30 years ago caused so much anger. Despite this, she has been working hard to rebuild her brand. She started a subscription-based TV network with both old and new shows, opened a retail store, and hinted at a documentary about her life. This mix of promotion and apologies has received mixed reactions, with some seeing it as a blend of business and sincere regret. When asked about what she learned from the controversy, Deen first talked about a new book instead of offering an apology. However, later, she expressed how sorry she was for the pain she caused, acknowledging how deeply people were hurt. Number 2. Kirk Douglas. Kirk Douglas had a difficult upbringing and found comfort in the spotlight. His passion for acting began in high school, but along with his love for the stage came scandals that followed him throughout his career. His personal life was as complicated as his roles, with rumors of affairs and a personality that seemed to switch between hero and villain. This reputation made him one of Hollywood's most controversial figures. One major allegation involved actress Natalie Wood, who was said to have been mistreated by Douglas when she was 15. The story, which claims Wood spent hours in his hotel room before being dismissed and threatened, remains unverified but resurfaced after Douglas's death. Some believe the story might have been wrongly attributed to him, as similar tales have circulated about other actors. Douglas wasn't shy about his flaws. He admitted he wasn't well-liked in Hollywood and blamed his tough childhood for his behavior. His co-star Burt Lancaster even joked about how difficult he was to work with. Douglas also acknowledged being unfaithful in his relationships and was known for his controlling nature on set. He fired the director of Spartacus after just 1 week and tried to control Stanley Kubrick during Paths of Glory. Despite these controversies, both films became highly successful, and Douglas's career took no hit. Number 1. William Froley. Last but not the least, William Froley, best known for his role as Fred Mertz on the iconic sitcom I Love Lucy, is often remembered as the gruff, penny-pinching landlord. His portrayal of Fred Mertz brought laughter to millions, but behind the scenes, Froley was a complex individual with a troubling history. Born in 1887 in Burlington, Iowa, Froley's early life was marked by a series of career shifts from vaudeville to film and television. His journey to fame was anything but smooth, characterized by a volatile temper and struggles with alcoholism. Despite making over 100 films before landing his role on I Love Lucy, Froley's fame truly skyrocketed with his portrayal of Fred Mertz. His on-screen chemistry with co-stars Lucille Ball and Desi Arnaz was undeniable, but his off-screen relationships were far more contentious. Known for his quick temper, Froley was a frequent source of tension on set. His hate for minorities was particularly disturbing, as he often used racial slurs, even targeting his Cuban-born co-star Desi Arnaz. Writer Bob Schiller, who worked on I Love Lucy, noted that Froley was a product of the 1920s, a time when such views were the norm, and hardly given any importance. Froley and his on-screen wife, Vivian Vance, who played Ethel Mertz, had a famously difficult relationship. Vance, who had to wear frumpy clothes to look older than she was, resented being paired with Froley, who was 21 years older. Their dislike for each other was clear, and they barely interacted off-camera. Even though they worked well together on screen, they hardly spoke when the cameras were off. Their tension even affected business. While Froley was interested in a spin-off about the Mertzes, Vance refused to work with him again, ending any chance of the project. After I Love Lucy, Froley continued acting, most notably as Bub on My Three Sons, but his poor health eventually made him leave the show. His last TV appearance was in a 1965 episode of Here's Lucy with Lucille Ball, after Vance had already left the show. Froley's life came to an end in 1966 when he died of a heart attack at the age of 79. His death elicited a mixed response from those who knew him. Some say that Vivian Vance had ordered champagne for everyone when she heard about Froley's death. This showed the deep-rooted animosity between the two, and how the actor was destined to be remembered by his co-star. Well, that's it for today. Let us know in the comments below which actor's story shocked you the most. And as always, don't forget to like and subscribe for more content just like this.